Hello and welcome to the Tinkle Podcast. It is time for another episode of our sequelitis Texas Chainsaw Massacre edition. Where last episode we spun our wheel of pain and torture and we got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D 2013 edition. I am your host, Quinton, and I'm joined by my other host,
Juan.
And we've just finished watching 2013 3D, and it was something.
I mean, I've seen this one the most, so...
Yeah, you've seen this one how many times have you seen it?
Maybe like 5.
5 times?
Yeah.
5 separate occasions?
5 separate occasions.
Sit down and watch it 5 times over and over again. This would have to be my second or third time. Because at first, I didn't think I'd seen this movie at all. And then right when we got to, like, the midway point, there were parts that would just, like, pop up in my memory. Like, oh yeah, I do remember that this was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that
I recognize this scene.
Yeah, exactly. Recognition of, iconic scenes, but we'll get to that. So, part of the sequelitis is that we're trying to figure out the differences between how either different directors or different eras of movie making changes how a sequel for something can be done.
Well, yeah, because as we said before, this is supposed to be a direct sequel to the first one, so we rewind the clock again.
Yeah.
So this is a next follow-up. This is the second time they've done this.
I was gonna say this is the first time that they've rebooted Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, with it being a direct sequel.
Okay.
Because I think 3 and 4 just ignore 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with the ones that we've seen so far, it'd be kind of hard to pick which one you'd want to go off of,
Yeah.
But you'd have options.
Yeah.
You would have some pretty good options. I'm gonna grab my drink really quick. But start us off. How do we want to do this? Because...
Well, first off, I guess your overall thoughts on this movie. Because, I'm going to be honest, this movie made me realize that, Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I don't think he can carry a film by himself.
No, that I totally understand that, because I also think he can't really carry a film all by himself.
I think from watching the first one and the second one, it's like you need his other family members there for him to bounce off of.
Mm-hmm. For him to have that threatening side and then, like, his mysterious, like, 8-year-old side where people actually, like, abuse him and treat him like shit. But, my thoughts on it is it obviously came out around Halloween time. It was in the era, 2013, where 3D movies were very popular, and I'm pretty sure...
this was way after that.
It might have been after that, but still, that was the thing is, like... I mean, it took time.
Because this is just called Texas Chainsaw 3D.
It was definitely during that era.
Even though this isn't the third one. Usually you give 3D to the third installment, right?
Yeah, you 3D to the third one. Every third movie in a series has to be 3D. No, I think honestly it was either a board of directors or someone essentially saying Halloween's around the corner. Someone make a Texas Chainsaw Massacre that's good for like Halloween time. And then they decided to make it 3D at some point.
I will say, paying more attention to everything that happens, I had a bit more respect for this film than I did before. Because before I was really like, meh. It's your typical slasher horror
exactly.
film.
That's what I was getting at.
But I was paying attention to like little nuances in the thing. So our film begins with previously on Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, and that was I think that's the one thing I can give this movie the most respect for, is it's the first one to not just acknowledge that the first movie happened, but to actually like pay homage to it.
They didn't want to give us a title scroll like they did in the
yeah.
other ones, telling us what happens. Like, let's just show them.
Yeah, and they show you by actually taking clips or parts. We live
All,
in a
all
clip
the
age.
important, all the
Yeah.
big parts of the original
All
film.
of the important, interesting parts of the first film. Not like recreations, not, you're getting told it by like
It's
exposition
Sally
or
is
anything.
telling them that, because now we can say that trucker, that person that she jumped in the bed of their truck took her to the police.
Yeah.
And then the hospital, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe she's giving her witness state now because they say she's getting driven to the hospital, so they went to the police first before the hospital.
Yeah. But it was also 70s, 80s, depending on how you look at the time frame.
Okay, yeah, because the time frame in this movie is hard to say, because the original, it was 1974?
Yes, 1974, yeah.
Around there, but I
74, 73, definitely.
don't remember, but for the plot to make sense, because this is supposed to take place in 2013, because, people got
2012.
smartphones.
It's actually supposed to take place in 2012.
2012, it came out in 2013.
The movie came out in 2013, which I thought was an interesting theme, but that could also just be Hulu kind of fucking it up, because this might be like...
Well, I mean, you see lots of movies like, oh yeah, it was filmed a year before, but they set the date ahead of time.
Exactly. There's also ones where they film, in 2012, and then by the time the movie actually comes out or hits theaters, it's 2013. Especially if you're shooting for that October, November range of like spooky, scary. It's kind of easy for one mistake, one fuck up, like someone getting injured on set, for it to be like, oh, we can't release until January of next year. But this also could be like the DVD release date.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how well this one did financially.
Yeah. And honestly, should we care?
No, I guess not. Really. I mean, it's been so many years. It's
hurrah, hurrah! Another 3D movie is dead. Another 3D idea is dead.
Yeah.
Because I never liked 3D. What was your opinion on 3D? No.
I don't know. I mean, everyone tells me like Avatar in 3D would just blew your mind away in the theater.
Was Avatar in 3D?
Yeah. Like they were saying, if you're gonna go watch Avatar, you gotta go watch it in theaters in 3D.
I didn't even know Avatar was in 3D.
But
I don't know. I feel like it was definitely trying to hop on a trend, and it did it during its time, but now watching this 12, 13 years later, maybe 11.
I'm like, damn, I feel old.
It is late, but that it's hard to go back and watch something like this where you remember other movies that do this and they either do it worse or better. But I would say it was honestly a pretty good flick.
I mean, yeah, I have a bit more respect for it because I was paying attention to like the homages or like stuff that called back to the original without being too much of a like nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Remember? I mean, there's a couple of those they have.
There is.
That's definitely. Like, oh yeah, this is like they didn't shove member berries down your throat.
Yeah.
They did a couple times. Pretty much, this picks up after the police get to the Sawyer's house, and immediately the Sawyers they called their family. Because when the cop gets there, you see like 2 other vehicles showing up.
Yeah. Which is, it makes sense because in this town, small town, so people know each other. But you could also see it as the Sawyers getting in trouble and them calling the Carsons. And the Carsons are showing up.
Okay, yeah.
That's how you could see it. It's just like two families that are interconnected in some way.
By marriage or such.
It is by marriage that they're like, yeah, let's come to help you.
Which I didn't remember because I just remember there being a bunch of people in the house, and I never noticed that they came in a truck. Because before we watched it, I was thinking I remember there being a bunch of people in the house, and my only thought was, where the hell were they in the first movie?
Exactly, they're all hiding in the basement.
It's like, oh yeah, it was just super early in the morning. It's like no one else was up. But no, they showed up.
Yeah, they show up.
They picked the saw.
Yeah, they picked the saw. So these people show up. They're either Carsons or they're like Sawyers. And the first cop to show up on the scene is Marvin.
Yeah.
Who is...
Is he the sheriff at this point, or is he like a deputy?
I want to say he's just a deputy. He's just the first one on the scene.
And I think he knows that I think they've been suspected.
Definitely.
Because he says that we have a girl here that says you butchered her friends. It's like, you can't sweep this one under the rug, like yeah. He knows that they've been suspected of.
I heard him say, we can't turn a blind eye to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, so the police are kind of giving them a little bit of leeway.
You mean you ain't gonna accept my chili money?
But while Drayton and Marvin are having this conversation, we do actually get our first look into that back room. But not Bubba, but Jed.
His name's Jed in this one, not Bubba.
They changed his name to Jed in this.
And Drayton, yeah, they said depending on the continuity, it's either Leatherface's father or brother.
Huh.
So in this one, it's his father.
Yes.
And in the second one, it's the brother, and I don't think it's ever really clarified in the very first film what their relation is.
Yeah.
I assume father because when he gets home, he tells the hitchhiker, like, look what your brother did to the door. Like, your brother, not our brother.
Yeah. Definitely. But we get a look into Jed's room. Marvin is telling Drayton that they just want Jed.
Which is...
understandable.
Like, kind of?
He's a scapegoat.
I mean, did they get the trucker there? I mean, was the trucker there to get the same? Like, yeah, I saw this guy cutting up this lady, and I just mowed him down.
Well, okay. Drayton didn't necessarily do anything in the first one.
But they have Sally's testament.
Yeah.
That he captured her.
I think for the most part she would just want Jed. I think for the most part they would only want Jed. And also the brother is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he got
ran
mowed
over.
down.
And it's canon because we're purely going off of the first movie.
Yeah.
But then we get your local ruffians who show up.
Yeah. They just got here like they do some vigilante justice, which...
They do.
It's like, how did the news get around? Like, I guess is it like a small town that everyone's like, holy crap, dude, the Sawyers just butchered a bunch of people.
I'm not entirely sure. That is an interesting question.
Because they just kind of show up, and there's something about the cop that I'm gonna say, like, when we get to like the end, I feel like they should have done this with the sheriff. And would have been a really good reveal. It's not in the movie, but it's like, you know what? I think they should have done this, and it would have made the ending would have made a bit more sense.
Definitely put a bookmark on that.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm assuming they were just listening to police radio.
Probably.
In their free time, and they show up just to hang and lynch Jed.
Well, no, the whole family.
No, they just want Jed. They just wanted Jed.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I think the cop just wanted Jed.
No, the cop.
The cops
wanted
like
Jed.
send out Jed, and the cops tell him like, you know what? They're sending him out, and the dude's like, no.
And remember, the one guy says, and he gets a good lawyer.
Yeah.
Jed was just gonna be arrested.
Drayton. Oh no, one of the other family members
Carsons
says that.
or something. Like, Jed is just gonna get arrested. He's probably gonna be in jail for the rest of his life, but he's just getting arrested, right? Then they show up, and that's when it kind of turns into what's happening, and it's like they're wanting to kill him here and now.
And they throw Molotov cocktails into
Yeah, it turns into Waco 2.0.
Yeah, they burn down the house and shoot a bunch of family members. You see Grandpa get taken out, and he's still holding that hammer.
Which was a very good homage, I want to say. Definitely an homage. It's just for like a split second, through the gunfire and the flames, you just see a wheelchair Grandpa just fucking fly back. This is the first instance of CGI in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series that we've watched so far.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, because we haven't seen 3 or 4 yet.
Yeah, we're not really watching it.
We're not really counting them because this is for the sequels, they're supposed to be direct follow-ups to the first one.
Yeah, but the inside, they used CGI fire for the inside, which is understandable, but then they used real fire for the, I'm forgetting the word. What is it? Stuntman. They use
fire.
They use fire for the stuntmen that get caught on fire. Because a couple people get caught on fire. Get caught on fire. So they used real fire for that, of course. And then they used real fire for the outside, which was interesting when the actual house burns down.
I guess I noticed that because when there were points I looked at the fire, I'm like, that just looks so ugly. Like, is it because it's supposed to be 3D? It's like, oh, the fire's coming at you. That's
the thing with 3D. Is the only way to get the 3D effect is with CGI objects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of got better at some point to where stuff looked good. And
I feel like there's only 3 instances of like what 3D, so like actual things good coming at you.
Yeah, exactly. Where it looks good and it feels alright. But that might just be like the Avatar effect, where the Avatar effect is that everything in Avatar is CGI. So in theory, you could just be inside the movie the entire time. Like the entire movie could be 3D and it would just be the same thing. But yeah, that's my problem with 3D movies in general.
Yeah, but they burn it down, and one of the mob lynchers finds a lady and her baby, and they immediately kill her.
It's kind of weirdly. It doesn't imply that he kills her, but
I mean, he kicks her.
Yeah, and then
kicks her in the face and takes the baby.
Yeah, I imagine she dies.
And they told no one.
I imagine she dies to her wounds, pretty much.
Yeah.
She just doesn't get treated.
Well, she got shot. Yeah.
She got shot. She was burned. Yeah, they steal a baby with a symbol on its chest.
Well, yeah.
Which is our first instance of
new canon. The Sawyers have a family symbol.
I'm surprised it's not just a saw. You know?
Oh my gosh.
Like a saw and like the old Soviet Russia symbols where it's the sickle and hammer, but it's a sickle and a saw. That'd be nice. And then we flash forward. We
don't know how many years, because if we're going by,
Chompy would not let this go.
I'm not letting it go.
He's not gonna let it go still.
If we go by when the movie comes out, because if she's a baby, Quinton said she looked 2, and we zoom forward from 1974 to 2013.
2012.
2012.
How many times? I'm gonna reiterate it every single time.
Every time I say it.
Every time you say it, I'm gonna reiterate 2012, not 2013.
How old would she be?
My first guess was 27. And then the more we kind of got into it, the more I kind of realized that she could pass off for like 32, 33.
I mean, she looks like a college age to me.
I think she's a little bit older than that, because the entire cast is...
Like 38.
Yeah, no, not 38.
That's what it says. I did the math.
Oh,
2012
from
minus
70.
like 1974, and it's like 38.
Yeah, that's a little bit too old.
Well, I think it would have been a more interesting movie if they made her that age, because then they could have had a bigger family. She could have had her own kids.
Yeah, that would make...
Instead of making them just college kids.
Yeah, well, no, they're not college kids because they all have their things that they do. They're all set in life.
Okay, yeah.
You know, they're
Past
she
college, late
doesn't even live with
20s.
their parents. She lives with her boyfriend.
With her boyfriend. And I actually put here that I noticed that there's like some genetic stuff with this Sawyer thing.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I thought
Because
it was very
she's
interesting.
working in a butcher shop, not as like killing ones, but she's in the meat part of a convenience store cutting up meat.
She's drawn to it.
And she makes art with the bones of cattle, or the stuff that she...
Yeah. All of her drawings in general were kind of interesting.
Yeah, and
if you look at it knowing that she's a Sawyer.
Yeah, I never noticed that until like I was actually looking and paying attention to every little detail of the film.
Exactly.
This time.
Exactly. It was, I mean, it's just, herrings, not red herrings, but
Well, it's kind of like, oh, it's like,
cookies.
She's following in the footsteps of her other cousin.
Exactly. It's like the first step to becoming a Sawyer sociopath is that you become an artist.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happens is basically she gets a letter in the mail that tells her grandma died, which she finds weird because she says that all of her grandparents are already dead. So she goes to her family and they basically tell her now that, hey, she's adopted.
And she's adopted because her adoptive mom could not have children, so...
Well, yeah, so that's why they stole the baby.
They stole a baby because they wanted a baby.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to tell the police. Be like, why'd you steal that bike? Well, I wanted a bike, so I stole a bike. Does it make me a good person? No. Does it make me bad? No.
And she asks them where she came from, and this is the opportunity for the family, for her adoptive parents to tell her the whole truth.
To prep her, yeah.
To prep her, like, you know what? You came from a family of cannibals. They butchered 4 kids. Maybe, I don't know if I got that right. Franklin, 4.
4? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Franklin, 4. The 2 guys, and the chick.
Mm-hmm.
Butchered 4 people, and, but no, the dad's very ambiguous. He just like, oh, you came from a crappy family. That's all he tells her. No, like... emphasis.
No emphasis on like it was not right for you. Honestly, that was like the one instance where I was like, he could lie, and it would be all right. Just tell her like, yeah, no, they were drug addicts, blah blah blah, all this like, although believing like your grandma is a drug addict or something, because like it still doesn't. She would still go. Essentially, if she was told any of this information, she would definitely still go because she would disassociate, I would assume, grandma from family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, that's the big thing, because even when either a Carson or a Sawyer is telling Drayton to give up Jed,
yeah,
he says he's family though.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I feel like Drayton from the other 2, I think he would have gave up Leatherface easy.
Exactly. That's why I feel like that's why they had to introduce like another family into their situation, because it adds a little bit of more of a dynamic. Because then you possibly have a more caring side that aren't all crazy, but they're just, they're inserted into the crazy side of the family. I want to know exactly who the fuck... Oh, it would be her mom. Her mom.
Her mom's a Carson?
Her mom's a Carson. Married a Sawyer. Makes her a Sawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I was going to say, I feel like they would hate her a little bit for doing that. But, she gets the letter saying her grandma's died, blah, 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 all that, goes to her parents, learns that, goes back to her boyfriend.
Her friends are like, you know what, we'll go with you, because they were gonna go to New Orleans.
Yes. For a party.
To
just have fun.
That's
have why fun. I don't think
they were just gonna make a pit stop in Texas to check this place out. So immediately we're already getting callbacks from the first one because they're in a van.
Mm-hmm.
They're all kind of placed in the same kind of spots in the van that
Yeah.
the original cast was. They also pick up a hitchhiker, but unlike the hitchhiker from the first one, this is a good-looking guy. He's
I was gonna say they redid it, the picking up a hitchhiker, but they did it so much better because at first there's tension, but it's not bad tension. It's like them kind of trying to figure him out a little bit, and him acting like a normal person.
well, he acts like he gets hit, which immediately should have set off red flags because they barely move forward.
Well, yeah,
He's
but
just
he
like,
doesn't go,
"Ugh."
"Oh, you just hit me. Take me with you." He goes, "Oh, you just hit me, but I don't care as long as you give me a piece of jerky."
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, he's just a kind of a hobo type, kind of wandering, a good-looking hobo type.
Yeah.
I wish we would have heard his car story. His car story must have been fucking great.
He's probably just been bumming. He probably just goes around.
He tells you where he came from.
Oh, it could have been a lie.
It could have been a lie. He comes
Could have been
from,
one smooth lie.
it was New Mexico. He came from he walked from New Mexico and he was kind of in the Texas area. But yeah, they did it so much better in this one just because it feels a little bit more believable.
Yeah.
To,
Well, I mean, the
have a
hitchhiker in
run
the
in.
original one, he looks kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what
he
kind of
acts
thing he's
creepy.
got on his face. He acts creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And, he has creepy things on him, so immediately,
It's like, why the fuck would you pick this person up?
Well, either or, but I feel like it's dumber if they're more dumb than the kids in the first one in this one.
But also, he gives them $60.
Oh, yeah, he gives them gas, he gives them the money to
Just
take
money.
him.
And that's definitely sweetens the pot. Makes it more reasonable because it's like, if we're going that way anyway, why not?
Yeah.
$60 is $60.
I just put a hitchhiker who's not creepy. He's picked up a hitchhiker just like the original. He's not creepy, but still, why? But then, they get to the place and they're just blown away by how great this house looks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To which they postpone their party plans.
Yeah, honestly, they do, because at that point they're like,
Let's stay the night, man.
Yeah.
Let's get some beers. I'm gonna. Their friend says, let me cook for you guys. I want to cook for you guys.
Yeah.
And this is when I just put dumb because the hitchhiker they picked up, they leave him at the house while they go to pick up these groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And he decides to ransack the house.
Yeah. Which I feel like is the luckiest break he could have possibly have gotten. Because he hitchhiked without the motive to just steal from them in general. But the second they get there and it's a mansion, it's just fuck yeah, I'm gonna fucking try to make some money.
Yeah, he convinces them that he's some kind of Boy Scout. So they trust him enough to this total stranger to leave him at the new refurbished house that they just got to.
Mm-hmm.
While they go out. And he grabs the set of keys that was left for this lady, because I guess each key is for each room.
Yeah, the keys to the house. Yeah.
And then there's one big key. And I just put, it's the boss store key.
I was gonna say it's a very conspicuous looking key.
One giant key out of all these little keys.
Mm-hmm. I was so weirded out by. He takes a while. He spends his sweet fucking time. He gets ignorant and stubborn with this big key because he ends up going down and finding Jed's new room, which he's moved from first floor, back room, single room, into a downstairs, almost like his own little mansion. He has a lot down there, but
He actually does, now that I think about it.
he has all he needs. He has his own bathroom. He has a room. I think he has a kitchen. Maybe. He might have had a kitchen or something. he had plenty of table space.
Yeah.
But he ends up finding the door that leads to Bubba's door.
Bubba, Jed, Leatherface.
Yeah, it gets. I'm just calling him Leatherface, and it's where we reunite with our lovely boy, Leatherface, who is much older.
Yeah.
Much older.
Well, how old do you think he'd be in the original?
Well, we see him a little bit, and he's about the same age as he was in the first. Well, he was the exact same age. They like just recreated it. So he's. Ugh, that's a hard one. He's got to be. I'm just gonna say it. Late 20s, early 30s. No. He's got to be at least 30. Late 30s, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I was thinking more 40s.
He could be.
If he was like in his 20s in the original.
If you say that.
This chick is like a grown
Oh, you're
woman,
saying late 40s now.
Yeah.
I was saying in the flashback.
Flashback.
Yeah, first movie, late 30s.
Late 30s. He'd be even older. He'd be like in his 50s.
Yeah. He's got some gray hairs. He's got a full-on, like, kind of stubble and stuff. He's very old-looking. He gives off old-looking vibes. He's not decrepit.
Yeah, I put here the first kill is the same as in the original. It's a hammer kill.
Yeah. And that was a homage, I would want to say, because, like, they pretty much took that scene from the first one and then just made it better. Because they show the gore, the impact, and everything. This whole movie honestly feels a lot like a homage to the original. Definitely, I think that's the goal with a sequel. But doesn't that kind of like grind your gears a little bit when a movie just panders to you like that?
You mean like member berries?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily member berries, but just like we can do it again, but better. Like, they don't even have to acknowledge that you've seen the first one. They're just copying someone else's homework.
Yeah, I think she calls Farnsworth after, like, they get back, they find out they got ransacked.
This is your first time mentioning Farnsworth. I was ignoring it because you just totally skipped over him and how she got the keys and stuff.
Oh.
We essentially were like, get to the house, because Farnsworth isn't really important to the story. This, she does not call Farnsworth. Not yet.
Doesn't she?
Mm-mm.
Dang, I'm wondering what I meant here because I just put tell her. I think it's when she runs into the mayor and his posse.
You're saying later. Here, they come back from grocery shopping. They realize the house got ransacked. Right?
Yeah.
And then she's exploring a little bit. Her boyfriend and her best friend, go to the barn to fuck.
Yeah.
And Kenny, he's the only one I remember his name, Kenny. He goes back to the kitchen to keep cooking, or to actually start cooking, and then he sees the butler pantry, and then that's where he goes down, and
you said immediately, like, what, he should probably have more, like, caution, because the idea that, the guy that just ransacked the house could still be in the house.
Exactly. Like, I'm surprised no one was like, we should call the police. We literally have his name and a description of him in a small town with no airport, no buses. Like, if you tell the police, like, hey, there's a 6'2" handsome looking dude with a backpack full of fucking silverware and candlesticks. Could you please give us them back? They would find him pretty quick. But no, they just decide that candlesticks and silverware is not worth their time. But he goes down into the wine cellar, finds Bubba's room door, and gets got.
Yeah, I put kind of another homage. The second kill is also sees Leatherface, tries to run away, gets caught.
Yeah. So this is where she sees the dead body of her grandma.
This is when I put how. Because they know she died, but they leave her body there.
They do know she died. Farnsworth does say that she is very particular. So she, I imagine, had some way of getting that information out through Farnsworth, because it would definitely be through Farnsworth. Maybe she decided.
She made a phone call and then died while they were on the line.
Maybe she like decided like on this day I'm gonna die, so I'm gonna have it like all of my shit set up to go off like a dead man switch. She could have been dead, and then no one found her for a week, and said, "Oh shit, she's dead. Who wants to go into the house and get the body?" And everyone said, "Fuck no." Because
well, I mean, no one really likes her because when they get to her house, they're spray painted the B word, and she's not really liked with the locals.
No,
because they know her family history.
Yeah, exactly. But I do. Okay, I remember. Yeah, she leaves. She sees the body, runs downstairs, and she's looking for someone to tell. She can't find anybody. She walks into the kitchen, and there's Leatherface standing over the sink cutting fingers, which was interesting. I like how you mentioned that Leatherface is a cannibal, because you were saying how he probably would have died because he would have starved to death if no one went down there.
Yeah.
If the movie essentially
would be because he takes the keys and he opens the door.
Yeah.
So we can assume that Jed didn't come out much.
Yeah.
She had Jed locked up down there and would go down there and give him food.
Mm-hmm.
So that's depending on how long it would take her to use that key.
Mm-hmm.
Leatherface might have just starved to death.
Honestly, I feel like he might have had some food down there or something.
Reserves.
Yeah, I imagine he wasn't living purely off. Wasn't living purely off of her food. It was more of just a dinner time thing. It's dinner time. Here's food. You know how you eat with your family, kind of thing. But she walks in on Leatherface, cutting fingers in the kitchen, and that's where their chase starts.
Gets knocked out.
Oh yeah, she immediately gets knocked out. I totally forgot about that. It was kind of inconsequential that happened.
Well, he doesn't do anything to her. He doesn't even tie her up.
He does not. He just takes her down.
Takes her down to the basement. She sees that was it Kenny?
There's the two.
You just said he was the only one you remember.
Yeah, Kenny's the one I remember, but I'm trying to think what Gary, or whatever the thief's name was, sexy hobo. But yeah, Kenny's there, and
Kenny's still alive.
He's still alive. He's just got a crowbar in his back, or a pick in his back, and oh no, it's a meat hook. That's what it is.
Yeah, he tries to grab at Leatherface, and Leatherface starts chopping him in two.
Puts him on the meat hook, tries to grab at Leatherface, and I put that this is where we get to see Leatherface at his full capacity, where he's uncontrolled. And he's unleashed, essentially. There's no one telling him what he can and cannot do. He can just do what he wants.
I mean, all he knows is these are also trespassers in his home.
That's exactly what they are. But that's what I mean, though, is
Well, I mean, technically not, but in his eyes, he doesn't know.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. But there was also another homage. With her getting knocked out, they used the shudder effect.
Yeah, the shudder effect. They use that quite a bit in this one.
They do. But it was nice because I was like, oh, that's a fun way to show that you kind of can't remember shit and things are blurry.
But she gets away as her friend as he's finishing off Kenny.
Yeah.
And ironically, she doesn't trip in the same place that Kenny did when he was, he was running up the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
She trips when she gets outside the house and walking down the steps.
She's not. Oh, I think she does fall at that point, but then she falls again later.
Yeah.
Just like horror movie tropes in general. But then we get the coffin scene, which is it new? Is it bland? Is it used too much? People climbing into coffins and scary shit happening. I feel like I've seen it a couple times.
Yeah.
Definitely. But that's where the first 3D effect comes in.
Oh yeah, that's what you said.
Which is nice, yeah. Where it's supposed to be you're in the coffin
And the chainsaw's coming out at you.
Yeah, he's trying to poke you at your face, which I thought was interesting. But all this noise attracts her friends who come out to see, and the dumbest horror decision that I've ever seen is
when she yells.
Yeah, exactly. You see someone just revving a chainsaw, cutting shit up in your friend's property, and you just go, hey, you! And it's just like immediately starts coming towards you. Like, what did you expect? Call the police. Where are their phones?
In the barn.
In the barn?
Because they're half naked.
No, I mean, oh, well, yeah. You're right on that, but he has pants on. He put his pants on.
You never really see any of them with their
phones. Yeah, exactly.
phones.
That's why I'm bringing it up, is like, we never see
We don't see them
phones.
use their phones.
Mm-mm. They're connected to their...
She uses a payphone.
Yeah, she uses a payphone at one point. But,
I mean, huge chase ensues.
Yeah, it's a thriller sequence more than anything.
They try to get out of there. Their big plan is to ram the gate, but they don't have the foresight to remember the gate opens
you
inwards.
Say it was just the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Just the boyfriend. He's just like, I ain't gonna wait for no gate. I got this. Buckle up. And she is telling him to just wait. Like, wait for the doors to open. Wait for the doors to open. Which is weird that they're automatic. It's not really very security safe. But they totally bust the van quite a bit. It dies. Let's Leatherface catch up. Doors open. We're to kind of get through this section, right? Because a lot of interesting stuff happens. Door opens up. Leatherface catches up. He makes a weird stop to turn left.
Yeah, because he comes to like a complete stop, and that gives Leatherface enough time to...
The car might have died again.
Might have died.
But Leatherface pops one of their tires and gives him a little scratchy on the side, and then they flip the van.
Which doesn't even look like it was that bad of a flip, right?
Yeah, they overturn.
Well, you see it go, but it doesn't look like they flipped hard, right?
No, it just fell over.
But somehow that was enough of an impact to kill the boyfriend.
He gets his head shoved through the windshield, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It looked like he got crushed because you see him, but it looks like he got crushed.
His head got bisected by glass, and I was like...
his death is kind of the weirdest.
Yeah, it's weird for a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie to have like off-screen deaths / deaths that aren't the Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Oh, you mean because it doesn't show the other girl get killed? Because she's still alive when we leave her.
We do get to see her get killed.
I mean, we do get to see her get killed. We
do.
But she's still alive when we last see her.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying it's weird to see a death happen that's not like Leatherface related or family related.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because that's why you go to see a movie. Like, imagine if you went to go see, I don't know, another horror movie, and then a character died of dysentery during it, and you're like, that's not a Wendigo, a Wendigo horror movie, yeah, all that. But they get hassled by Leatherface. The main character, Heather. I remembered her name.
I don't.
Yeah, it's Heather, her adopted name. And the other friend, they get hassled, and she breaks free from the van and just gets Leatherface to chase her. She runs down the road into a carnival? Because
Yeah.
there's a festival going on.
There's a festival going on.
Yeah. It's a Halloween festival, so we get to see a saw.
Yeah, the pig, the pig, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be that
It's
because
supposed
it's the
to be the
pig with
pig.
black hair, the red
Yeah,
jacket,
the red and black jacket, the mask, the
chasing people out of like
hair.
a fun house.
Yeah.
Because, horror thing. And then
I was weirded out that they didn't use the carnival
more.
that much, yeah. But essentially everyone's just watching this lady get chased down by a guy.
They might think it's part of the attraction.
Yeah. Well, for the most part, yeah. Then she climbs a Ferris wheel, which I thought was fucking hilarious. Well, she doesn't climb it, she just holds onto it, and it's just like...
Going up.
She goes up, and then she starts coming down, and Leatherface is just waiting. Then we get, Good Boy Cop.
Discount Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, discount Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, Chris Evans.
Chris Evans, yeah.
That's Captain America.
Who shows up, fucking threatens Leatherface, get our second little bit of...
Yeah, he pulls out a gun, and
3D.
Leatherface immediately freaking tomahawk chucks his chainsaw.
And then he just runs into the forest.
Runs into the forest. So I just got here. So tools, fire extinguishers, and guns. Super effective against Leatherface.
Oh, yeah. Because remember, chainsaw don't mean you're bulletproof.
Yeah.
Yeah, she goes to the police station. She tells them all about this and all that. They call it in.
And Carl drops... Well, no, they find out that, the murders happened. The cop gets to the thing. The body's...
Gone.
Well, yeah, she probably told the cops where it was that they crashed. The cops get there. They say there's no bodies. And she's like, no, she was alive last time I saw her.
Mm-hmm.
Which we don't know how much time has passed between this. But then,
town.
They know it's with the Carsons and what it is. And then, good cop boy drops a box of evidence. Like, here's all the stuff we got on the Carsons. And
classified red tape evidence on the board. Mayor comes in yelling at the...
Angry, well, yeah, because...
This is also the first reveal of the fact that the new sheriff of the town, Newt, where this movie takes place in, Newt, Texas, is now...
Oh, yeah, that's the first time he appears again after the beginning.
Yep. It's Marvin. Marvin from the beginning. He is now sheriff, and the one of the people in the beginning who orchestrated the killing of the Sawyers
is now the mayor.
Which makes sense, honestly, right? That small town is just like...
Well, I mean, the newspaper wrote them down as heroes.
Yeah, she's going through the box of evidence, and there's newspaper clipping, or full-on newspapers showing the Sarah, the escapee from the first one. I forget what her name was.
I forget too.
Showing her, telling her side of the story. Man, they killed my paraplegic brother. It's so funny to me still. I don't know why they would say it like that. But shows her making her statement, the fact that they confronted the Sawyers and the Carsons, and it essentially tells a bunch of lies. But truths, half lies.
Well, what would you say was a lie?
They refused to surrender.
Oh, yeah.
They were in the middle of surrendering. And then the now mayor, showed up, and that's where it got heated. And it wasn't also the Carsons or Sawyers that fired first. They just returned fire because they literally had a Molotov cocktail thrown at them.
Yeah.
And then it has the quote.
Ain't no arguing with the good book.
Yeah, ain't no arguing with the good book.
An eye for an eye.
Yeah, essentially. And
this is, I'm gonna be honest, this is where the movie kind of loses me because she kind of ignores the whole beginning section of the newspaper of like cannibal family murdered these people.
She sees her mother dead, burned. All that. She's looking at a list of her family that she could have known in her life. Dead. All dead. And she's looking at a picture of the people that did it, just like Leatherface, with a burned corpse, holding a chainsaw, just looking happy. And it's just you could say like, oh, I wouldn't do that in that situation, or you could say you could or would, but you could also see it as like her blood, her actual Sawyer blood in her is kind of infuriated.
Yeah, this
And
shit's genetic.
It jumps to I want to kill.
Yeah.
But she can't necessarily grip that just yet.
I just put boo hoo because it's just like, did you just ignore that first part of them killing?
Yeah, it's definitely
and you just
weird
saw your
for her.
friends get murdered too.
Yeah, it's definitely weird for her to totally throw aside the fact that her friends are dead, but also kind of take her family side over the police and stuff because she doesn't know the whole story. Doesn't matter if she's adopted and that's her family. She doesn't know the whole story. But she escapes.
Yeah, and puts murderers on the...
writes murderers on their picture. Goes and finds payphone, calls Farnsworth, decides to meet at a bar, which was a callback to an earlier line in the movie, but... Well,
I don't think we mentioned the letter at all.
The letter itself does not get mentioned. You mentioned the letter. You mentioned the keys and the letter, but the letter goes ignored.
He tells her like 3 times, I
He
swear,
tells her
to
yeah,
make sure you read the letter.
Yeah, he tells her to read it, but she doesn't.
Oh, I think that's what my tell her line was. Like, you know what? Just tell her the entire truth.
It's on the phone. You're
right
saying
now.
On the phone.
Or no, when he first comes up and gives her the keys and tells her to read the letter.
Just tell her.
Like, just tell her right there and then.
He doesn't really want to do it. Like, I could see it being like, you might seem like a crazy person, but also he hasn't opened it. He doesn't know what the letter says.
He doesn't know what it says, but he tells, even without that information, he tells her that hey, your cousin Jed is under there.
Yeah, he could. He said he could have been like, there is someone else in the house. Read the letter before you go in. But, he does say, like, she's very particular.
He gives her all the information she needs, so he had that information and could have told her.
But she just wants to drink and have
just like the
fun
family
with her
could have told her, like, hey, you know what? Your family were cannibals. They killed a bunch of people. The townspeople decided to take justice into their own hands.
Yeah. This is definitely, like, a showcase of why you shouldn't procrastinate important stuff. You know? Like A might seem fun and easy to, like, do and have a good time, but if you really need to do B, or B could be important, you should probably look at B before you do A.
Oh yeah, there is a lost movie where she read the letter first and Jed and everyone just played pool for the night.
Yeah.
Because the minute I saw when they get to the house and they find the pool table, I was like, oh damn, you know what? I could just imagine Leatherface playing pool with the grandma.
I'm surprised there was no cutting the pool table in half scene. I honestly thought that was a Chekhov's gun for cutting the pool table in half.
Yeah, true, because it's introduced, it's mentioned like, oh, grandma loved pool.
Yeah. But it's essentially, it's there just to draw attention away from the letter, is pretty much what it becomes. Or she goes outside to go look at graves.
Yeah,
it's
and
very weird.
Basically, everyone that died is buried there. You see Drayton's.
Yeah.
And this is where we got pissed off, because Quinton said that he swears he saw something that they retconned the year the first one takes place, and that they moved it like 10 years ahead, so like 1986.
Yeah.
And with that, I thought, okay, I guess her age does make sense. Because without it, she'd be 38.
Do you want to hear something funny?
What?
So I figured out where the number 1986 comes from.
What?
It's when Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 came out.
Oh.
1986. The last one we watched.
The good one.
The good one. The numbers 1986 have been stuck in my head for fucking ever since that movie. So I totally...
It's a great movie. I mean, if Lefty was in this movie,
it would have been a shorter movie.
Oh, yeah.
I totally dyslexiaed somehow while watching a movie. I have no idea. But we do know what day it happened.
Yeah.
What month? August 19th. Which the grandma was very obsessed with because she makes it the passcode to
get inside.
Yeah. But if you think about it, she's the only one that really knows that happened, kind of thing. Like other people know that it happened on August 19th, but
we don't know the exact year, because the gravestones, even the newspaper clipping, it's just out of background.
Staging. They used
they used
staging.
leaves to cover, so we just see 19, no other date. So it could have been 74 when the original took place, 86.
Death dates, which is interesting. People that did not die on that day, you get to see the year they died, which is a very interesting.
You get to see other Sawyers and Carsons.
Yeah, you get to see that they fought in World War II, stuff like that. But yeah, she talks to Farnsworth. They decide to meet up at a bar, go to the bar, and that's where
gets the whole kebab. She finds out, yeah, that dude's your cousin.
Yeah, she does get the whole kebab. Tells him that the grandma actually introduced Farnsworth to Leatherface.
Yeah. Well, I think she was hiding the fact that he was alive, because he's probably could still be...
He is their lawyer. And lawyers are evil people.
I mean, this guy didn't seem...
Yeah, no.
He just seemed like having the worst time.
It would not be against a lawyer to be like, oh, you guys actually did kill people? Yeah, let's not tell the police that. You know, it's just to kind of keep it under wraps. But he said he learned just a month ago, which also shows that, like...
But he suspected that Jed was alive with
Yeah, he
her.
wasn't sure. Because of probably the things that she would do. The room itself, and like, oh, why are you making this much food for just you? Like, oh, it's for two. But that gives me the assumption that the grandma had control over Leatherface. Obviously.
Well, he's usually... Well, like you said, this is him kind of unhinged.
Yeah.
Like, he's got no one to answer to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But it was just interesting is like, okay, like, you can... They've changed how he is a little bit.
You think so?
Drayton controlled him with fear. And, like...
Well, I mean, could you say that this... Can you see that this Leatherface is the same one from the first one?
No, I really can't. He's too smart.
Maybe he studied up after, because...
Yeah.
Like they said, he had just a terrible day, In his eyes, people just walking up in his house, he kills them. He lets one girl get away, and his entire family gets killed.
Yeah, it just for an 8-year-old.
And now it's
just
like...
a little bit too
And now it's like, I'm not going to let that happen again.
Mm-hmm. I get that, definitely. No, I can't see it, though.
He never got to find love. He didn't get to meet Stretch.
Can we have that movie where it's like every single Texas Chainsaw Massacre is canon?
Shh.
I want to see that movie. Call it Texas Chainsaw Massacre Ultimate.
But how would that work?
I don't know. We'd have to finish all of these movies, and I'll write up a script. But they're at the bar. Tells him that he's an 8-year-old.
And he's simple-minded. Like
he doesn't know who you are. You are family.
He knows of you, but he doesn't
of
specifically know that you yourself are his cousin.
Yeah,
he knows
exactly.
he has a cousin.
That's alive.
Yeah.
Gets explained, like, the whole, like, you were safer there, blah, 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 all the stuff about the grandma. And then the mayor shows up, and...
Does this happen before the cop dies or after? The one that goes in with his cell phone.
This happens after, definitely.
Well, yeah, we skipped that.
The
cop that gets on the scene.
It doesn't matter, like, for those events to be in order, but
yeah,
sure.
Well, I mean,
Go ahead.
You were saying how dumb it was because he's
holding
holding his phone, recording,
That's
and
just me
gun in this other hand.
Being irritated by the dumb cop decisions and stuff. And Marvin being the smart cop, but also at the same time, yeah, just the mayor pisses me
And also
off.
was another homage scene with the girl in the freezer.
Yeah, so we get introduced to a cop who arrives to the actual house after leaving the van. He's the one that showed up at the van, realized no one was there. Goes to the house, calls in over the radio to his sheriff what he should do because he sees a blood trail leading into the house. Sheriff says to stand down. Mayor's there. Mayor tells him to go in, guns blazing, kill that fucker. The mayor decides that he needs to see this, so he has the cop pull out his iPhone 7, maybe 6, something. I don't know iPhones, but it's an older iPhone definitely because it still had the home button, and they FaceTime, essentially, so that they actually do FaceTime now I think about it, so that the mayor can see what the cop is seeing, and he's just got this weird flashlight hold on his phone, and he's got the gun, but it irritated me just because, like, he's prioritizing showing stuff with the phone over keeping your gun in a good spot. But anyways, he goes through essentially the entire house, all the way down to the basement, into Bubba's room, looks around Bubba's room, finds the freezer, goes to the freezer, opens it, we see other girl, funniest fucking thing, he shoots her dead.
She's trigger happy.
Trigger happy, and also was scared.
Yeah, but that isn't that trigger happy? Like, oh.
Yeah, he started to regret everything, which
like,
that doesn't necessarily make me upset. It's just a funny moment, or a moment where people are gonna be like, "Oh, did you see that scene? Like, oh, it's so stupid." You know, it's one of those talk about scenes. But their FaceTime ends, and he starts walking back, and then,
I guess it's a better way to go like that than getting butchered.
Honestly, but he leaves back up to the first floor, and the Leatherface hops out with a hatchet. Call it the Texas Hatchet Massacre, and just goes to town on him. Doesn't even get another bullet off, and yeah,
kills him, and you find out it was one of the guys that was in the mob lynch.
Yeah, so Leatherface takes his face, I think because he wants all of their faces, and he scratches his face off of the picture from August 19th. And then we're back to her at the bar talking to Farnsworth, and then the mayor shows up because at this point he's got a grudge against her.
Yeah, but just because she's a Carson, immediately just because...
Oh, well, because they go back, he actually wants to, like, hurt her there then, or arrest her. And the sheriff, of course, is saying that she's a victim, and they get back to the room
and he just says, well, she's breathing, isn't she? It's
yeah,
like, what does
exactly.
that mean?
It means that she's about to become a victim of a lot more than just being there. They get back to the room that she was in, and she is gone. And then we get to the whole bar scene.
Well, yeah, she eventually, you know what, Farnsworth helps her escape. She runs into good cop boy, gets in the car. You find out that the mayor is his dad, and he's taking her to...
She thinks that he, as a cop, has some sort of power over the mayor, is what she wants. She wants him to go to the bar, arrest the mayor.
Farnsworth.
Yeah, arrest the mayor or something and help Farnsworth. And then we keep on going past the bar because, yeah, it's the son of the mayor.
Yeah, but this is when those genetics kick in, because suddenly she's just a wild person.
Yeah, she kind of becomes a little unhinged.
Like, oh, Segura, I forget what she says. She says the last name. Then she stabs a knife through the hole.
It's like Hartman.
I'm a Sawyer.
It's a cool scene. It's one of the scenes that I remembered.
It's like, this is where the movie loses me, just because it's like, okay, I guess, like,
it's kind of where the movie gets... It's kind of where the movie gets me. Where I'm like, ooh.
Gets you?
Because I find it more interesting than your standard...
Yeah, but I feel like we should have gotten more of those tendencies.
There should have been more build-up.
More build-up, like...
Definitely.
You know, like, beginning scene with her boyfriend, like, you know, he's just, like, in the kitchen, she, like, sees the knife and sees him, and, like... She's feeling this urge to stab him, but,
you're telling me she should have had, like, a hankering for, like, flesh. Like, someone's bleeding, and she, like, wants to drink their blood or eat.
Like, something to show that, like, she, you know, genetics. She has that soy blood, and she has, like, urge to kill.
Yeah, gotcha.
I mean, we see that, she works in meat, she makes art out of the bones, like her family.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just more build up to build towards that instead of just the sudden turnaround. Because before that, she seems like a normal girl other than her arts and crafts.
Yeah, exactly. But they decide, the mayor and the son decide to take her to the old meat house, the old slaughterhouse that the Sawyers used to work in.
Yeah, before
And
it got shut down.
Before it got shut down. And we cut to Leatherface, who left the house.
He goes outside and finds the cop car, and
Yeah,
he's conveniently there when they say exactly where they're taking the girl.
They just say slaughterhouse. Like, he knows as well, which is interesting.
Oh, there's only one slaughterhouse around here.
So now we have the whole shebang where we have Leatherface on his way to the slaughterhouse. We have Heather at the slaughterhouse, tied up. We have Carl. I think his name is Carl.
Yeah, I think it's Carl.
And then the mayor. All there. Mayor tells Carl, the son, to just leave.
And this is the last we see him.
Yeah,
He's a loose end that never gets tied up, because it's like, you killed the dad, you killed that guy. He knows.
He knows, but he has no connection to, well, besides being blood, but he has no connection to the events on August 19th. So, like...
But, I mean, they killed your dad. You'd think he'd...
It's just... I don't know.
Just like an extra scene of, him getting got before
he leaves. It is interesting. It brings up a good question, is... Should the son pay for the sins of the father?
Well, I mean, he's perfectly okay with tying up this chick.
Because he sees her as a Sawyer?
Yeah.
Because she is a Sawyer? But he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't really do anything to her.
I mean, it looked like he stripped her.
He, like, unbuckled her shirt. But I also feel like that might have just happened during, like, their tussle, where he bangs her on. That sounds bad. He, slams... He police holds her a little aggressively onto the police car. I think it just, like, comes undone or something. But he then leaves. It's not like he's being creepy or anything. It's honestly like he's just doing what he's told by his father.
I mean, he's a loose end. It's like he can still come back for revenge.
Yeah.
And maybe that was a planned sequel. Maybe the fact that he was cutting those names off, that the sequel was going to be them hunting down the other people.
Yeah, exactly. But Leatherface gets there second after Carl leaves. Well, third, actually. He gets a third, because we see the mayor and the one guy show up, and then we don't see them again for a bit, but Leatherface then shows up, and he finds Heather tied up, and he really enjoys fucking with people. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It
you
is...
mean that he puts the chainsaw, like, to her shoulder?
Yeah,
and then
he
walks around her?
Yeah.
Instead of just right there.
Exactly. But because she's semi-stripped, he sees the burn mark,
the mark that burned on her from the necklace, her mother. It's hard, how do you explain this?
Is that, all the Sawyers, they had custom-made necklaces.
Yeah, it was just like a circle and an S.
Pretty much.
And during the fire, the mother's necklace burned on the baby.
How did you catch that? I didn't even catch that. I was wondering.
Because this is my 6th time watching the film,
okay.
So I specifically remember.
I was
those.
For the whole movie, I was like, Sawyers are kind of fucked up. They branded a baby.
Oh.
Like a cow brand, kind of.
Actually, no, I just would have loved if it just would have been a birthmark, like the Joe stars.
Yeah, that would have been...
They have the star on their back, it's just like, Leatherface is like...
Somewhere, sorry.
And you see it.
But, It's kind of interesting. So Leatherface sees the mark, and he immediately kind of knows that she is the cousin. Which honestly makes sense. I was just about to say a thing where, like, you could fake being a Sawyer, but the only reason he believes it in that scenario is because he knows it. There is a cousin, a female cousin out there that's alive, and then he just connects the dots.
Yeah.
That's all that happens there, is he connects the dots, and he frees her, and then that's when the mayor and the one guy, we're going to just say henchman number one, pop out, and they beat on Leatherface's ass.
Yeah.
And Heather decides to run away. And then as she's leaving, she can kind of hear them doing what they're doing, beating him and wrapping
a chain around his neck, and they're gonna throw it into the grinder.
It's not throwing. It's that's how that machine works. Is once it's not like that, but once a cow or something is dead, you wrap it around like their leg, and it slowly pulls the body into it. It like a mulcher kind of thing to get that burger kind of thing, but it's like a mulcher for dead cows and dead pigs and stuff. They tie it around his neck, and he's slowly getting dragged closer and closer. And Heather shows up because nothing's thicker than blood.
Yeah.
And she gets her first victim, which is henchman.
Yeah, first kill.
Yeah. It's henchman. She stabs with a pitchfork. Which I think is interesting. Do you think through the course of a day you can learn how to kill?
I think if driven to that point, yeah.
Driven to that point? It is quite the thing. And then we get... So then she sneaks up on the mayor, kind of. Doesn't really necessarily sneak up on him, and says something. She, like, just tells him to stop it or something.
Grabs the chainsaw, throws it.
Well, yeah, but there's a little bit beforehand. She doesn't just immediately do it. But, she goes up, grabs the chainsaw, because she doesn't want to kill the mayor.
Well, he's coming towards her.
Oh, yeah. But she grabs the chainsaw, throws it, and says, "Do your thing, cuz." And then we have a Leatherface. Not even. I was just about to say boss battle. The mayor doesn't even put up a fight.
No, I mean, because he has a tire iron.
Yeah. So Leatherface cuts.
He ain't like Lefty. He ain't taking a chainsaw into a chainsaw fight.
Yeah. Which apparently is like one of the only ways to actually like win or fight against Leatherface.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta either have a gun, a chainsaw, or a wrench. Yeah, those really are the three.
Wrench would knock him down.
Wrench wins every single time. You don't even have to fight. You just have to throw it. But he cuts the mayor's Achilles heels and then ties him up to the machine. And this is where we're going to get to the point that you wanted to bring up earlier. Marvin shows up.
So, okay, you know what? Which I think would have been a great reveal if it was revealed that Marvin was a Carson.
That would have been a great reveal.
Like, I think the whole thing of him showing up as a cop and, like, saying, "Hey, you know what? We can't turn a blind eye to this. I have to take one of you.
Yeah.
Someone has to pay for this," and then showing up. So I think if they would have revealed that Marvin was a Carson and that would have made more sense with him letting Leatherface kill the mayor.
Yeah. Sadly, we don't get that.
Yeah, that's not the thing, but I thought, like, you know what? That would have been a great thing to do, because it would have justified
the beginning.
The end. Why he just asks for the boy, because it's like someone has to take the fall.
Well, someone with a chainsaw, and all that has to take the fall. But yeah, that would have been good. But no, Marvin's aiming the gun at Leatherface, who is hovering over the mayor. And the only reason that he doesn't shoot Leatherface is because Heather tells her to not shoot.
And then he repeats the same words, like...
Can't get around the good book.
Yeah, an eye for an eye.
Yeah, essentially, like, what needs to be done will be done. God wills it. Then we get the last little bit of horrible CG
when he chainsaws his arms
it's
off
pretty
and
bad.
He falls into the meat grinder.
Pretty bad. Chainsaws the arms off, and then the blood itself looks like jelly. It's just one of those,
and
like...
it looked like an after effect.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you see it, and you're like, that's not good looking. Doesn't have that
It ain't practical.
Valley. Yeah. And they try to use the lighting to kind of cover it up.
I just kind of put here, Marvin's kind of a terrible cop for just letting that slide.
Yeah, Marvin holsters his weapon and says, "Now clean this shit up." And
yeah, but it's like, you know what?
There we go.
There's video. Well, I guess it was just Marvin and the cop there, but it's like there is a cop dead in that house. I imagine the other officers that work there know that he was sent there and never came back.
I imagine.
The mayor never came back.
Well, we don't know how many cops are in this town.
True.
Because it is only 2,300 people. Don't ask me why I remember dumb shit like that. But, I imagine this is, especially now that he's the sheriff, they're able to turn a blind eye to this as well. And a lot of the stuff that's happened in the public or otherwise can be explained away. Like the whole carnival chase scene with the chainsaw. Like, all of that could be like, it was part of the fun kind of thing. Like, it was just a thing.
But what about when the parents of the friends like hey, you know what her name's Heather, right? Or
parents of the friend?
Yeah, the parents of her friends like, hey, you know what, they went down with
Heather,
you and
yeah.
I haven't heard from them.
You're right. I think that's where she just... Well, also, they have a crashed van.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they died in a car crash.
Okay.
It's just kind of like... They have set up there to brush things under the rug. But that, Marvin walking away and Heather and Leatherface kind of looking at each other, both out of breath from what they've been going through, afflicted to each other, which is, I think, hilarious, you know. Leatherface is tired because he's
like,
been chasing...
I knew you killed all my friends, but we're family, so I'm gonna let that slide.
Yeah, they kind of look at each other and they go home together.
She's cleaning his wounds.
Yeah, she doesn't... She's just wiping blood off of his mouth.
Yeah.
Which is his blood. Thank God, right? It's his blood, because he was getting beat to shit. Then she tries to touch his face, which has me a little uneasy.
Because we've never seen an instance of him having a problem with that.
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to imply. I don't know if they're implying that she, like, wants to be close to him, like, family-wise and all that, and this is her trying to show affection and him rejecting it, or her going, like, let me see what's under the mask, and then him being like, yeah, don't touch the mask, or something, you know.
Yeah, but then the ending is she finally reads that letter.
Yeah. And it literally, in big bold letters, pretty much says everything that would have, like, saved her. Is like, that's your cousin. Like, she tells her where he is and how to get her. She in the letter says, like, in the kitchen, into the wine cellar, there's a big metal door. Like, she goes door by door how to get to his room, and she's like, he's okay, like, your family, you'll be safe,
he'll protect you,
all this, he'll protect you, and all that.
In return, he just asks that you care for him.
Exactly. And then the movie ends with her giving him some food.
Pretty much saying, you're a Sawyer, and it's your time.
Yeah, which is like, your time for what? Your time for caring for this, or...
Probably time to follow in the family footsteps.
Maybe
Murder oncoming
footsteps.
People just passing through.
Yeah. But the movie ends there. Her accepting her new life. And then we get an after credits scene. And before we talk about the after credits scene, I want to say, do you like it or do you not like it?
The after credits scene?
Yeah.
Not really.
I was going to say, yeah.
I mean, we don't really, because the after credits scene is her two adoptive parents coming to the house to visit her.
Yeah.
Because they're all excited and want to get in on that big money that
I
they think
imagine
she inherited.
she invited them.
Possibly, yeah. Because they ring the door and the Leatherface pops out with a chainsaw, so we can assume that they got.
Well, we know they got. Because Leatherface, like I said while we were watching the movie, he has the picture, and his goal, I guess, is to cross everybody out on that picture. And they're in that picture, both her adoptive father and her adoptive mother. We do get to learn her actual name, by the way. Her adoptive name is Heather, and her actual name is Edith. Edith Sawyer. So we might have to write that down and see if we get any callbacks to an Edith Sawyer in any of the future films. I highly doubt it. You highly doubt it?
I highly doubt it. Because I've seen the 2022 one once.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think overall of this one? Like, as a direct follow-up from the first one, is this a good successor to the first one?
If I'm looking at it that way, the score goes lower. Because if you were to watch the first one and then immediately watch this one, you could get slightly confused, but they do explain some things. So I would just give it a 6.5, maybe a low 7.
Like rental.
Yeah, very much rental. Like, it's a good, I want to watch something kind of scary.
But like you said, you said, let's talk about Leatherface. So you don't feel that this version of Leatherface was the same one that you saw in the first movie?
No, of course not. He's definitely changed with time. And he's probably grown to be a little bit better because he's not being abused as much.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. He has PTSD from letting someone escape.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. I don't know. There's too many things that have changed for him in his life to be like, no, he's the same person. Because everyone changes. Everyone changes even if you're mentally stunted as an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
It's interesting to look at that. A character dive into him. What did you think of this movie?
It's still kind of a meh to me. I have some more appreciation for the little things they did, like, oh, she's doing things with the bones just like her family.
Yeah.
Which, I feel like we should have had more build-up in showing she has these, like, violent urges.
Yeah, you've said this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can reiterate, no one's gonna make it, Chompy. No one's gonna make that movie.
Maybe.
Because Hollywood doesn't know how to make good movies.
Well, no, yeah, because, like I said, going back to... This made me realize that Leatherface can't carry his own film. I feel like we need... If you're going to continue the Chainsaw franchise or reboot it or build onto it, you need his other family members for Leatherface to bounce off of.
You can adjust them, you can change them, you just cannot get rid of them. Getting rid of them hinders Leatherface.
Which I think is going to be a downside because 2022, it's just Leatherface too.
Again?
Yeah, it's just Leatherface by himself. It's not like his family.
Okay.
And watching part 2 made me realize, like, you need the family dynamic to, like, make the Texas Chainsaw movie, like, work.
Exactly. I'm just fully prepared to watch another movie where we have a damsel in distress. Maybe. Stretch was a good non-damsel in distress. And Heather, Edith, also, she turns kind of into a not damsel in distress. 75%.
Where she finds out, we should be on the same side.
Yeah, that's where she turns less into a damsel in distress. But Stretch, entire movie, was not damsel in distress.
Well, she's very much like sorting them out. She follows them. Yeah. When Leatherface lets her go, it's like she could have just stayed put and gone on with her life.
She probably would have been saved by Lefty. But, are you ready for the wheel of pain and torture?
Well,
For our
we already know the next one.
What's our next one?
The next one is 2022.
Why is it the next one?
because that's the last direct sequel follow-up they've done.
Oh my god. I'm not ready.
You're not ready?
I'm not ready. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch 2022.
Yeah,
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be
I mean,
be
have you
fun.
seen any of the trailers?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I won't say anything. I want you to go in and just...
Blind, yeah.
Blind.
I definitely... It is kind of sad that we started with 1986 first, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said, like, I'm kind of sad we got them in the order they were released, because I would have liked, like, hey, if we got Texas Chainsaw 3D first and then watched the second one, Chainsaw 2, and then maybe 2022. I would have
preferred either backwards or 2016 or 2022. No, well, 2016, 2013. Sorry.
Do you still stand by what you say when it's like, I'm ready on this high, so I'm ready. I'm okay with us stepping down.
Yeah, I am. I'm fine. I will never turn down watching a good movie.
Well, no, because you said we watched two. It's like, you know what? I'm glad we're on this high, and I'm ready to step down.
Yeah, it was definitely a step down.
Which is like, I would have preferred if we were like, we stepped down, stepped up, stepped back down.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know where that middle step up would have been. Would we?
The step up is the first one the first sequel that came out.
Okay.
Because that's just a great fun movie. Lefty's just a great character. Stretch is a great character. This one, it's your typical slasher. It's like, hey, here's your group of young
Blood
adults
bags.
ready to
die.
Go to the slaughter.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Tinkle Podcast Sequelitis Edition. We will see you next time.
When we watch the final sequel, direct sequel, until they make another one, because they probably will. Because they waited like 7, 9, 10 years to do another direct sequel.
Yeah, 9
the first
years,
one.
I guess. 9 years. They get itchy. They get itchy with it.
Instead of just rebooting it, it's like, oh no, we have to keep that first one solid in the timeline.
I feel like they would get more hate than anything if they did anything with the original. And that's why they refused to change it.
Oh, I mean, they rebooted it once upon a time.
They did reboot it.
And yeah. I think it did I think it got pretty well.
Exactly, but it's just like...
But then again, I think Leatherface in that one is more mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he looks mean. He doesn't look like this, like, big muscle that's, it's like, inside he's like a kid.
Yeah.
Just following orders. Like, no, he looks mean and he looks like he wants to get you.
All right.
All right.
Well, yeah,
Until next time.